Alright guys, I wanted to show y'all how we ran all the lines on the rotated setup on the VA STI. AOSs are always confusing. It's even more so when you add a rotated setup. So these two lines here are going to the top of the can. The blow-by sensors are supposed to go in here. This line right here and this bottom line here, you just basically follow the instructions of that. This is going to the drain. This is going to where the PCV valve. These upper two are for the valve covers left and right. The hardest one is actually the coolant. So because we're rotated, we don't have the upper tank any longer. So if you look below the intake manifold right here, you see that, let me focus in on it. That hard line right there goes into a 1/2-inch hose, and it leads to one side of the AOS for the coolant lines. So if you see the coolant line down there, it's this one right here. Then the other coolant line out of the AOS right here goes into the turbo, and from the other side of the turbo it goes into this line right here. So we're missing the fitting for this at the moment, but it goes onto this side of the turbo. And it's going to be extremely hard from the top, but we're going to follow this hose down, and it actually goes into a factory hard line all the way down there. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on it, but you can kind of make out the fuzzy hose clamp. Let me see if we can focus that. There you go. So that's how we do the coolant setup. It is a lot of connectors, but other than that, it's pretty relatively straightforward. But that is the way that we had to do it. One thing that I don't like though is the bottom drain. If you see the bottom drain right there, that goes into the Y piece into the block. There's actually a connector there, and there's nowhere else you can really put it. And what happens is that you'll see that there's another piece of rubber hose on top. That's because there's a hose clamp directly below it, and that hard line right there is the clutch line. So we basically insulated it. That way hopefully we won't have any issues with it. So, but that's how we did it on the rotated setup. It took quite a bit to figure out, but after that, it's not too bad. One thing that I do have to mention though, as you can see, we had to modify the Turbo XS charge pipe. We essentially had to shorten it to bring it further down. We blocked off the blow-off valve, and we made a section here, changed the bend just a hair, and we got that to line up. So the blow-off valve, we actually moved to this side of the charge pipe. So the reason why we did that was because we had to build a new intake anyways. So we figured that having the blow-off valve on this side of the charge pipe coming out would shorten this down, and then it just cleans it up. I mean, I'm okay with the setup. I personally like my blow-off valves like hidden away, but the customer, this is kind of ideally how he wanted. He wanted the blow-off valve outside facing this way. That way he can blow off at people, I guess. But anyways, that's how we have it set up there. And I can't wait to get this last fitting. And it's always a $15 part that you're waiting on to get this damn thing started. So hopefully we can get this started up pretty soon here, get the Cobb flex fuel mounted. So one thing I do want to mention is that the Cobb bracket for the flex fuel controller module deal is not going to fit where it's intended. So we're going to have to figure that out, but that's relatively easy compared to everything else.